because we have similar backgrounds, being ministers, as well as trying to be taken as academicians too, as scholars. And a lot of people don't look at Martin as a scholar, which he was. And he was also a theologian, so he was balancing two worlds. And when I was growing up, I said, I want to do two as well. He had insecurities.
What were some of them?
Some of his insecurities was he didn't think that he could lead this movement. He was 25 years old. People don't fail to realize his youth. The boy was born in 1929. Well, Martin was an intellect, photographic memory, a scholar. He graduated and got his PhD when he was in his early 20s. Matter of fact, Coretta Scott King was older than Martin because he was finishing up his PhD when he was talking to Coretta, who was still working on her undergrad degree. You know, and she was educated, and Martin just had a keen mind. It's almost like the 60s now. Cosmetically, we have changed in that more people are in the middle class, but now we got still more people going into the lower class. And the middle class is shifting. So Martin would look at that, and he wouldn't say that it would just be politics that would do anything about that or to fix the problem. This is a man's inhumane is the man problem. Martin was actually going to take poor whites, blacks, yellow, brown, and Appalachian, and he was going to take them and march all the way to Washington, D.C. Now, that was never done before. Nobody's ever looked at the economic part, because what Martin was trying to do is put the poor on the feet of Congress, Democrat or Republican. He didn't care. He was going to take the poor and say, now, here you go. These are your people. And then he wasn't going to leave until there was legislation. Now, that's different.
I understand that Martin Luther King was against the Vietnam War. Do you also think that he would be against our war on terrorism, the war in Iraq?
I think he would be against that as well, because that's taking money away from, and that goes back to your poverty issues, things that we can be doing here. And I can't break down the stats of the trillions of dollars that we are using to fight the war. We can educate thousands of new teachers and bring them into the fold. And we can work on our infrastructure here. Martin will be looking at those type of issues today, the HIV virus, and many things that we are battling today, in addition to poverty, because now you got poor people also who are being hit with not only poverty, but with disease, not having access to health care, not having access to a good education, living in bad neighborhoods, and even the very people that swear, put their hand on the Bible and swear that they're going to take care of these impoverished people, and they don't do so. They just wet their own whistle. So Martin would hold their feet to the fire, and he would march on you. He didn't care if you were black, white, if you were doing wrong. He was going to march on you. Martin would be excited with the new African-American middle class and how many people are now catapulted into the upper echelon of wealth, be it through athleticism or through academia or through whatever, corporate world. He would be excited about that. So it's a twofold answer. Yes on that part, and then no on the part of we still have more to do. Those of African descent make up 10 to 12% of the population in the United States, those that we can count, all right? And then yet we make up over 40, 50% of the prison population, you know? So now you got the new university being the prisons. You got 2 million people locked up. And so Martin would look at that. Why, you know, not justifying their sins or what they did or their crime, but Martin was into preventive things, preventive medicine. We got a church on every corner, and it's in the hood, you know? And I'm like, well, okay, if we got a church on every corner, why do we have all these drive-bys? Why do we have all this crime? Why is it most of the people that's banging their mama and daddy or grandmothers in the church? And Martin would address those issues. I think he would hold the feet to the fire of these preachers to be more involved in the community. Not that we can do it all, but we can start, because they do look up to us as the spiritual. Like he would roll over in his grave, hallelujah, but on the same sense, you know, we still, like you talked about earlier, we still got poverty. I'm happy on the one cent that a brother's doing something, that this man, an American citizen's doing something, and that they're living the dream that he talked about. Although Barack takes the dream out and puts hope there, it's the same message that Martin preached. So I think Martin overall would be excited, but still would say there's more work for us to do, and here are the things you can do. And matter of fact, when we swear in our president January of 2009, Martin will be waiting for him the next day. After you have your ball and you sleep in late and everybody partying and dancing, the next day He'll be waiting for you at the White House. Okay, there's Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King out there waiting in the Oval Office. He's waiting for you in the Oval Office because he has a list of things that he wants you to look at. And it's amazing that that same list, Chaz, will look like the list from the 60s of Martin Luther King and W.B. Du Bois' list in 1903 when he wrote The Souls of Black Folk, that there's many things that have not changed. And a lot of our leaders are not talking about these changes and things of that nature.